How do you like the new gym, by the way? How's that been?
It's been good. We just put a fan up to help kind of get some airflow in there today with this heat. It's air conditioned, so it's not terrible.
Yeah.
And then I got the rest of the wall mats coming in probably in a couple weeks. So most of it was covered, but yeah, once those wall mats come in, then we'll be fully enclosed. Walls are rock solid.
Nice. Do they just have
Like
like
it,
big red X's on them right now?
it's always the same two fucking kids, no matter where they are in the room, and all the holes in the old spot were from this. And everyone knows, like, if I say like do not hit the walls, everybody will look at the same two because they'll
Look
start
at
on the
them.
complete opposite end and somehow they'll end up over there. And it's always like I'm just gonna
That's
pick you up
so
and run you
funny.
across the mat type thing. And of course they're both white belts, but
Right, of course.
it's whatever it is. But no, it's been good. And the guy that runs the building is super nice. Not having to
Good.
deal with cleaning or maintenance of the building or really anything with the building other than teach and leave has been
Yeah.
nice. So now that we're situated,
Good.
we've started to kind of push and promote a little bit more. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, it's been good.
That's so
It's been
exciting.
good.
Congratulations. I meant to ask you
Thank you.
sooner, but I don't even
Yeah,
know
no,
how
it's
we
been it's been good.
talked about the social media stuff. Yeah, it's always nice to talk to people who do social media, like to like, kind of commiserate a little bit, but also be like, hey, this is what's working and what's not working.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so I actually have, I think I told you, I have two folders. One's called
Yep.
David, one's called David 2. My boyfriend's gonna think that I dated two Davids. So that's so freaking funny.
I love it.
Gosh, where do we even start? You
Are
guys
you
probably heard
Are
this
you
in the
texting me the
intro.
videos or are you?
No, I'm gonna actually send this to you, I think via DM. Is that okay with
Yep,
you?
that's fine.
Okay. I can do either. I can do
Nope, I
either.
don't care.
By the way, watching these, like, put me in some type of mood. Like looking specifically for videos where like people are getting attacked. Like I was like in the gym in between sets. I was like looking for videos between yesterday and today so
There's
that they're a
some
little bit more
ruthless ones out
fresh.
there.
Holy shit. And also the ones that say like warning, like viewer discretion, you're like, do I want to see this? But then again, Instagram will like clock so many things. So this first one, you've
I'm
actually go
oh,
ahead.
go for it.
No, what were you gonna say? I'm sending it
Oh
over.
no, I'm saying fortunately, like Instagram doesn't flag any of these videos really anymore. That's why I download them so fast when I see them before they disappear. The problem is getting them on YouTube is I got to edit out so much stuff to get it not flagged by any means.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
but
that's so rough. That's so rough. We'll see how this one goes. This is my
go for it.
first true reaction video to like videos on the internet. I told you Lena and I did the
Yep.
ones of the TV scenes. You've actually responded to this one, I think, before.
I know the
Hopefully, none
guy.
of the other ones are ones you've responded to yet, but oh, you know him.
He trains local. He's Chicago.
Oh, no way. Oh, very cool. You
I've never
have done a
trained with him,
reaction to this,
but I
right?
know who he is. Yeah, I have, and I'm actually planning on doing a full breakdown of it at
What?
some point.
Oh, cool.
So,
Are you okay with
yeah.
doing another
No,
preview
yeah, let's do
here?
it. Let's do it. No.
Very cool. So, for those of you that aren't watching on YouTube right now, which if you aren't, definitely go check out the YouTube version of this. Ooh, yeah, David, do you want to actually explain what's happening as this is rolling out?
Yeah. And I mean, I know from interviews I've seen with him, obviously after this video took off, he apparently was in the aisle of the row next to them, and I guess this guy was getting pretty verbal with one of the other passengers in that row, from my understanding, and was like reaching for bags and just kind of getting a little uneasy for people. And I guess he had already unbuckled his seat and was kind of like turned facing him ready to go. And I guess the moment he started reaching for the exit door was on him. But like it's hard to kind of see what he's doing exactly. The nice thing when you are in close quarters like this, whether it's on an airplane, a bus, a vehicle of any sort, you can use the actual structure of the vehicles to add as frames. And so again, I don't know what he's doing with his feet, but you could very easily kind of like push on the seat in front of you to drive your body into him a little bit more, which just adds levels of pressure that you can't create outside of this. I know they ended up zip tying his hands, or they were in the process of zip tying his hands, and he didn't think they needed them because, again, he was able to kind of wrap them up pretty well and pretty nicely. The biggest thing that I pointed out when I first saw this video, though, was how calm and collective the guy is. The fact
He's
that
just
he's
chewing
literally just
gum.
chewing gum the whole time had me dying.
Yeah.
And everyone else is, I'm actually surprised everybody else is pretty calm, but further just emphasizes, now clearly he's a black belt. I think he's at least a first degree, if not a second degree. I know he was in the Marines, I believe, and I'm pretty sure he was an MMA fighter to some extent. So he's been around combat sports a long, long time. So this isn't his first rodeo, but the beauty of training in combat sports is dealing with live pressure and knowing how to adjust based off of what is going on, and also not being timid necessarily if the body size isn't ideal in any sense. Um, but whenever you grapple specifically with somebody that has no grappling experience, it's like just holding down a child. It is incredibly easy to do if you are a high caliber grappler, which he is. And so on a situation like this where you really don't have anywhere else to go, again, he can use the leverage of the seats and the seats in front of him to apply pressure a little bit more. Like there's no way that this guy was really going anywhere. Even if they had to take it to the ground, again, you got a million different positions that you can kind of hold them down, even if it's just a simple like top mount with gift wrap and just hold them there until the flight's done. It doesn't take much energy, especially because people that don't train don't know how to use their energy correctly. And if you tie them up properly, it's really no resistance on me. I can sit there all day long. It's when you start going against experienced grapplers that know how to move properly, that's where the resistance becomes a little bit more unbearable, and you got to actually kind of use a little bit more muscle and oomph in your techniques. But no, I absolutely love this video. I pushed this when I
Right.
first saw it. Was like, this is why you train people, because whether you're stepping in to help out with somebody else, or if this guy just started attacking you, again, once you get hands on, unless he's a surprise black belt that we don't know about,
Right.
it's pretty
Which
easy.
I think about that all the time in class. If I'm getting absolutely manhandled, I'm like, thank God the dude who like probably may or may not attack me, not try and put that into the universe, is not going
Right.
to be my
Yeah.
instructor, black
And
belt
the other
guy.
thing is like when you understand, and I love Aaron Genetti for this quote, but it's like when you understand violence and you're good at violence, you get to choose violence. And so I love that this guy
Mm,
didn't have to resort to striking or any sort of damage because he didn't need to, and he understood it. I mean, like if he needed to hit him at any point, absolutely no problem. But you didn't see
right.
just unnecessary slaps, punches, hammer fists, kicks, anything. It was just like, hey, I'm just gonna pin you here, dude. You're not going anywhere. We're up in the air, and I'm holding you down. So
Yes,
just chill. You know.
absolutely. And now because of videos like this, because this is not the first time I've seen a video like this. This is the first time I've seen a jujitsu guy take the lead on it.
Mhm.
Usually it's like some brave soul, right? But it's interesting to see like this actual guy who's fought in championships, like his shirt says, taking control of a situation like this. It makes me think about where I sit on a plane now. Because
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
I'm always in the aisle. I'm never not in the aisle seat.
yes, okay, exactly. The
I'm
only
always in the aisle.
yes,
One,
the
it's
only
more
trip that
comfortable,
I'm
but like my head is always like, if something were to happen, I'm the guy. Like
a
I'm gonna
thousand
like,
percent
and normally I would never jump in on anything. Like it would take a lot for me to really intervene. But on
yes,
an airplane,
understandable.
like there's really only one reason that people get violent on airplanes, and like I'm not about that. So
No,
like at that point, pretty much anyone, like whatever I did to that person to control them and save the plane, people would be like, "Yep,
yes.
you're good."
It's like that one song that's like, if we go down, then we go
Yeah,
down together.
yeah,
you gotta, you gotta,
yeah.
you gotta help. So
All I know
that's
is
so
I'm wearing
good.
jujitsu shirts and hats and hoodies the rest of my time that I'm
Perfect.
flying. Like
You're
that's
like,
it.
I'm
I'm
the
ready.
good guy,
I'm
everybody.
ready for the planes. Like I'm here,
Stay
everybody.
safe,
We're
my
good.
dogs. Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say the other day I chose the aisle seat for this, not joking, for this reason. I always, especially on the shorter flights, and this lady put her cane, I guess she had to, because she tried to keep it with her in the seat. The flight attendant was like, So he put the cane above us, and this guy got up mid-flight to grab something from the upper cabin, and it fell out and hit me directly in the head. And I was like, that's what I get for trying to be a
A good
maybe
person.
hero. Like, who knows? Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Person
Very
knocked
cool.
out by
Okay.
falling cane.
Yes, I know. Gosh, it was so embarrassing, but also I was laughing so hard. Um, the next one is about pepper spray. And for those listening, if you cannot tell already, David has not seen these. So at least I would think that
We'll
our For
see.
You page is very
I have a
similar.
lot of videos that I have not posted, but they're just sit on my phone because again, like if I see something, I download. I've seen this guy's page, but I don't know if I've
Okay.
seen this
Yeah, it's called
exact
Pepper
one.
Spray Central.
Yeah, and I don't know what this guy is. A lot of people say that the guy that does the filming is trying to like intimidate or antagonize people. And regardless, like no matter what, he's not asking for anyone to come up and grab him. Like, people are still
Right.
choosing to grab him, and that's still battery. So, you can't just go up and grab
Yes.
people and hit them and grab their stuff. But I love the fact that he always utilizes pepper spray because it's
Yes.
incredibly effective. And I don't know the last time anyone's died from being pepper sprayed in the face, you
Yes.
know? Um, and normally I don't have the sound on right now, but normally when I've seen this guy's videos, he's pretty good at telling people to back off. Like,
Yes, he really
he is
is.
pretty verbal. Um,
Mhm.
so that was what, the first spray, and now he seems okay. I guess he's got the glasses, so it may not hit him as quickly.
Yeah, that
Okay,
was something I was hoping we could touch on.
second spray.
Mhm.
I like to zoom in on the eye. Oh, now the glasses are off. There we go. Yep. I'm actually impressed that the pepper spray lasted that long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I tell people too. And I emphasize this with tools in general. Like pepper spray is incredibly effective. You can still push through it. Like, I may not be able to see super well, but I don't think it really would have hindered my. We're gonna test some of this stuff, but I don't think it.
Yeah.
When I first got pepper sprayed, I don't recall really being hindered physically. Like, my breathing wasn't too bad. I was coughing a lot, but I could still breathe. And if I blinked really fast, I was able to maintain like visual if I was just constantly blinking. But
Interesting.
it was still annoying, but it didn't necessarily put me out per se. But I do think that, especially with pepper spray, people have this idea that if I spray you in the face, like, the fight's done, and it very well could be. And again,
Sure.
I would much rather spray you in the face than shoot you in the face. I think that's a much
Absolutely.
better solution to 99% of the problems out there.
Agreed.
But like everything, it could fail. Clearly, with glasses, if he's taking the pepper spray to the face, like, you're still going to get it in your nose and your mouth, and that's where the
Right.
breathing is going to come into play. But that doesn't necessarily stop him. It's the eye. To me, it's the eye shutting that really bothers me. It's not the breathing. It's the fact that I just physically can't open my eyes because it feels like they're on fire. That's what was stopping me from really doing anything. But I think people just have to kind of be prepared. And I think this is where the conversations kind of come into, where it's like, okay, I sprayed you in the face with pepper spray. What do I do now? And I
Right.
think the first thing that people need to understand is you got to get some space between you and the person. Um, and if you can't get space for whatever reason, then you got to put stuff between you and the aggressor to try and delay their approach. You may have to get ready to get physical again, which is why I usually tell people, like, if you're going this far to carry all these self-defense tools or firearms, you should at least have an idea of how to throw a punch or grapple a little bit, because again, stuff could fail, it could fall out, you could fumble it, and now you're 100% dependent on your ability to physically fight. So I think that kind of comes into play. Call 911 when you get somewhere safe. Like, your goal after I spray somebody, because clearly you felt threatened enough to spray them. I'm not just spraying it because, like, oh, Sophia, you're pissing me off or you're annoying me.
Right.
So here's a face full of peppers. I feel threatened.
Right.
I'm going to spray you. I'm going to get out of there. And when I don't feel threatened anymore, I'm going to call 911 if you want to, and let them know what happened, where it happened, and kind of go from there. But as you can see here, I mean, clearly 3 times to finally get it. And I think the only reason the third time worked is because his glasses fumbled when they kind of started getting hands on a little bit. And I think that final one is what really ultimately put him back a little bit. Or it just finally started kicking in, which is the other thing. It's not an immediate reaction. It took about
Mhm.
40 seconds more or less for me to fully feel the effects, which, if you do combat sports, 40 seconds is a long time.
Absolutely. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
going to jiu-jitsu tonight after a little bit of a break. And yeah, those 40 seconds are going to feel like an hour. Not ready.
Yeah.
This episode of She Shield is brought to you by Right to Bear. You've probably heard me say that self-defense is more than simply carrying a firearm. It's awareness, avoidance, and preparation for anything that is to come your way. And that's why I'm partnering with Right to Bear. They stand by defenders like you and me. You'll receive benefits like expert witness support, psychological care, gun replacement, and even protection for other lawful self-defense tools like pepper spray, knives, and even your hands and feet if you have to use them in a struggle. What sets Right to Bear apart is that they are dedicated to education and immediate legal response. In case you do ever have to protect yourself, you have access to a 24/7 attorney-answered emergency hotline so that you are never alone. What I love most, though, has to be the personal connection that Right to Bear will have with you as a member. For example, Frank, the president of Right to Bear, will give you a personal phone call when he hears about a claim being filed. That level of care in the industry is extremely rare. If you carry, train, and believe in thinking ahead to protect yourself and your family, consider getting a membership with Right to Bear. If you use my code FIT4FIA10, you will get 10% off your membership, and the link to access this and to learn more is located in the show notes of this episode, which are the notes below the title. Protecting yourself and your family should not leave you defenseless afterwards. Stay safe and stay vigilant with Right to Bear. So when I saw him kind of start throwing a hand, or like he kind of turned like he was going to throw something, I think that's when the pepper kind of hit him and he backed off. I think on time 1 and 2, he started to look like he was going to throw hands a little bit.
Mhm.
I kind of winced a little bit because that is my biggest fear with pepper spray, not using it at the appropriate distance, not having enough of a barrier between myself and the person. So I'm very cognizant of that. And I have a lot of people ask me, with all the tools you carry, like, how do you determine what you're going to use? First of all, there's no way I could ever explain that perfectly because it's so nuanced, but pepper spray is not something I would do in this like distance. I would be
No. Like, if anything,
personally, yeah,
you could shove them back a little bit. Like, if I knew in my
right.
head, like, I have to use something at this point, but I
Yes,
don't wanna hit you necessarily, I would
right.
probably shove you so that I could deploy pepper spray, because I could argue self-defense wise, like, I just shoved him back to give us some space. He was in my face, whatever. I just shoved
Yes,
him, but I wasn't trying to shove him to the ground. I just wanted to shove him enough that I could get my pepper spray out. And now if he comes forward,
absolutely.
I'm at a better distance that I could use it. But I mean,
Yes.
it is a fair question of like what would you use? But again, it's gonna vary person to person. I'm comfortable fighting, so I may be more willing to go longer with hand to hand stuff before I feel the need to deploy even a blade. So I think it's
Right.
gonna 100% kind of depend on the circumstances and what our experience is in that moment.
Absolutely. And if you all are listening, you're like, "Oh, I wanna hear more of this," of, like, force continuum and, like, what David would do personally. We talked about that a lot in our recent season 2 episode. I'll link that in the show notes below if you wanna go into a deeper dive. That was such a good episode. Honestly, like, I learned so much just listening to you talk about your thinking behind which tools you would implement and why. I told my boyfriend about it later, and I was like, "He made such a good point." Like, one of his punches could, like, kill somebody, so, like, pepper spray is good for him, and he was like, "Oh, that's interesting." It was kind of
But
fun
like
to
that could be with
talk about that.
anybody. It's like, oh, I just
Yes.
punched him. It's like, I'm like, yes, but how many videos do I have of like knockouts and they just crack their heads on the concrete and just fold over? And I'm like, God,
Yes.
if that person died, like that's a whole different world. So it's like, yeah, I'd rather not punch.
Yes. That's also one of my fears. Gosh, I saw this
Yeah.
comedian's really quick side note, saw this comedian pull someone from the crowd. You know how they, like, do crowd
Hmm.
work? Ugh, that's a thing, obviously. Anyway, I was about to explain crowd work when there's a word for it. And he was like the guy was really gruff looking and his name was like Bo, and he was like, "Bo, like what? You've been to prison or something?" And he was like, "Yeah, actually." And he was like, "What for?" And the guy was like, "Murder." And he was
Yep.
like, "How?" And he was like, "Do you see this? Do we have
I
the
think I
same For
have it.
You page?" And he was
I'm
like,
sure we do.
"How did you kill him?" And he was like, "He fell down." And he was like, "This guy just fell down." And he was like, "I'm terrified." But the reality is, like, he probably pushed him or something,
Push
fell
them or
back, hit his head
something.
on the car. Yeah, this is a thing. I'm like
Yeah.
watching this, thinking about a conversation.
Yeah.
So
Like
it's kind of
it's the
funny.
dangers of everyone just wants to jump to punching. It's like, I'd rather just give you a face full of pepper and walk away, or just
Yes.
walk away.
Yes, absolutely agreed. This next one is a little bit grueling to watch, TBH. I thought I would
Perfect.
sprinkle in some, okay, perfect. I'd
Perfect.
sprinkle in some not as bad ones to some with some bad ones. I at least had really a hard time watching this. I can't tell if it's a
Oh,
woman or a man in the escalator. Have you seen
I
this?
think it's yes, I have. I think it's the two brothers.
Okay. It kind
Yeah.
of looks like the
So from the
the older
looks,
one said something
yeah,
weird
and I
here.
think that's where the comments were. And I'm not justifying what this guy did under any
Right.
circumstances, because I think he just way overreacted.
Of course.
And obviously, again, this emphasizes the importance of knowing how to fight.
Yes.
Like, I just think that's a skill that everybody should have. Um, and actually, the old man looks like he might have trained a little bit. Like he's not throwing bad combos, maybe back in his heyday.
Right. Right,
But what
right.
bothers me, and I think this is just something that I keep seeing time and time again, it looks like at the beginning they kind of bumped shoulders, or I don't even know what it was. I'm guessing just based off the way that the guy turned around that the kid said something. Like I don't think that I don't. And
Interesting.
again, there's no. I don't know if there is audio on this one other than music.
Yeah, I think
No.
since it's kind of
Um.
CCTV footage, I didn't think there was audio.
Yeah. My guess is that he's because like just the way he turns around at the beginning, and I keep kind of watching that on loop. The way he turns around at the beginning makes me think that the kid said something as they walked in.
Mm,
Um, or
interesting.
maybe, one of them said something, I think, and that's kind of what started it. And then I think the fact that the kid keeps saying something, because now here he goes, he walks away and then turns around. So I'm guessing he said something again as he went to walk away, and that's what finally kind of sends the guy over the edge. So again, not blaming the kid for anything, but at the same time, it's like have respect for people, even if
Yes.
let's just say the old man gets out of the elevator and you're face to face, and he just makes a rude comment. Okay, whatever. Like, you know what? Sorry, sir.
Right.
Just, excuse me, just carry on. But again, people are so quick to just fire back with insults, especially the younger kids, that they just
Yes.
think that they're smart asses or that they're tough and they can handle themselves and they can just say whatever they want. Because even after he gets his ass kicked, which he does get his ass kicked, it
Yeah.
still looks like he's talking smack to the guy as the guy walks off. And it still looks
Yeah.
like he's kind of running his mouth a little bit. It's like, dude, not only did you just put your life at risk because you took some good shots, he threw you into a wall and he's literally kicking and punching you in the head, but you got a little
Mhm.
kid with you, and now you're putting that kid at risk too. And you don't know if this
Yes.
dude's crazy enough to just turn and start swinging on the kid either, which isn't
Yes.
uncommon in today's day and age. And so that's like my biggest thing too, is even if I'm with
Mhm.
friends, even if I'm with or especially if I'm with my family, I am not saying anything, doing anything that's going to put any of them in jeopardy. Because one, I don't want to have to fight, and two, I sure as hell don't want to have to fight and potentially let my kids see it or put them at risk as is. So,
Absolutely.
but I just from
Yes.
the views, I think I'm gonna say that the kid 100% started this whole thing. I think the guy also could have just let it go,
Yes.
but
Oh,
you know,
absolutely. I was thinking about this the other day. Um, I had this memory flash. I don't really know where it came from of this time I was driving downtown Fort Smith and like they're building it out. I don't know if anyone knows Fort Smith, Arkansas. They're doing a good job at like making it a better place, but for a while it just like wasn't a place you wanted to walk around, at least
right.
alone in. And I saw this girl walking alone and this guy kind of tagging behind her. And I remember circling just so many times to make sure they never got closer, that, if she was turning around and looking scared, I could do something. And, she got in her car, everything was fine. I remember thinking like, "Wow, I'm like I think I'm kind of." Maybe someone would see me on the internet and think like, "Oh, wow, like, she would stand up for the good," and, like, I would totally stand up for someone and whatever, but I would never run my mouth or get into a fight that I couldn't just end with, "Hey, man, like, look, I'm sorry. I offended
I
you,
very
just psh."
rarely, yeah, and I've said it publicly numerous times. It will take a lot for me to intervene.
Yeah,
Like unless I
absolutely.
know you, like if we're out, at the summit or something, if we're out and
Right.
God forbid I turn over and you're just getting pummeled in the streets, like, oh shit, that's my friend.
Sorry.
And I know,
Sorry.
I know the situation, like I'm gonna go help. But if you're like, honestly, if you're a random woman and I see you getting beat by a man, it's better for me to be a good witness than it is for me to get involved in something that I have absolutely no idea what's going on, let alone
Mhm.
have anything to do with me. And
Yes.
like, as again, kids is where I might step in a little bit more. But again,
Right.
it's still heavily based off the situation. It's like it's just too risky
Mhm.
nowadays. And anyone that says otherwise,
Yes.
I'm like, you can go for it. I'm not going to judge you for it. But
Yes.
you like when you're in
Mm.
combat sports and you are in, concealed carry training, like when you train in the world that we train in and you're exposed to this
Mhm.
stuff, you see stuff like this all the
Mhm.
time that most people don't because nobody else's for your page is like ours. But
Yes, absolutely. Right, no, absolutely, and if you're listening and you're like, "Oh," and you're maybe thinking, "Oh, I'm so surprised," like, I would think you would step in. A good situation to think about is, a couple that, you know, domestic violence is happening, but that's just like a typical Wednesday for them. Craig
Yeah,
gives a really
you have
good
no idea.
example in ECQC. And then you've now just inserted yourself into a situation where you're now like trying to help this guy's wife, and he may turn that anger onto you, and she may start also attacking you if she thinks that you're going to harm
Which
her
I have
husband.
also posted numerous videos where that's happened, and both parties have now turned on the person that was coming in to intervene. I'm like, this is why.
Yes,
Like, just be a good
absolutely.
witness and just document everything,
Yes,
you know?
absolutely. Yeah, you have a kid and a wife to get home to, so,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. That is such a personal
At least
decision if
until
you're
my kid knows
thinking
how to fight, because then he can help me out. But that's a different, we're not
absolutely.
we're not there yet.
Yes. So excited. So excited for that. That's so cool. Okay, so this next one, I would be actually oh, wait. I know you've seen this because you commented and I commented and said you were the best. Just in case she read your comment, I wanted to be like,
Oh,
"Oh, yeah, David's the
is
best."
this the jogger?
This is the jogger. So for those that again maybe are listening to this, aren't seeing the YouTube, I just sent you the OG video.
Mhm.
There's a jogger. Her name is well, her name on Instagram, her
Handles like
username is Train
train.
Heal Create.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful woman, extremely strong. Like she's absolutely ripped in incredible shape. She was going for a run, and correct me if I'm wrong. A man was commenting at her. She turned, I think, took an AirPod out because she couldn't hear them. She admits that, you know, going forward, she won't have AirPods in, which, you know, this is
That
none
was
of
a
this is to
mistake. Yeah.
shame. Yeah. This is just to kind of explain the
No.
circumstances around this incident. And then he ends up throwing a white substance at her, and he says that it came from his body, which like
She thinks it was like
completely
paint or
recoiled.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he said something back to her because she was like, "What is this?" And he
Yeah.
was like,
I
"It
think,
came
yeah, I
from
know with what
me."
he said, and then
Yeah,
she checked later.
and
Yeah.
it was fine. It
But
wasn't
again, like,
a
this is
bodily
why
fluid.
I think she says later in that video, or in the I read somewhere that she believes it was like paint. Like what
Right.
she looked at, it was like a paint substance of some sort. But I
Absolutely.
mean, like, nonetheless, like, this stuff happens. I mean, I see on our town's Facebook all the time of like little girls walking out of Target getting approached by people, or people going on runs and they're attacked
Mhm.
or jumped or killed or robbed or something. So again, it's what pisses me off, and I didn't read through enough of the comments, but I'm sure it's in there at some point. Is especially because this was a woman, you'll no doubt have comments saying, you know, if I were to comment some advice on this video, or I haven't broken it down yet, I will at some point. But I know when I do it, I'm going to get comments, and one of them will always be, or how about we just train men not to do this? Or how about we just tell men not to do this? I'm like, yes, in a perfect world, nobody would be assaulting, raping, killing, doing anything to anybody. But I said the reality is it's happening. And the moment you accept the fact that this is happening, then you will take the proper steps. And I hate when I post like, oh, this is what I do when I walk through parking lots, and people are like, where do you live? Like Middle East or something? It's like, no, I live in a very nice
No,
suburbs, but guess what? It still happens, and it happens more
I get
times
that
than
comment
people
all the
want.
time.
And the one time that I don't do something is going to be the time that something happens. So it's like, do I up my, like, I never carry a second mag. You know, I've got 18 rounds. If I can't do the job in 18 rounds, you know, what's the point of me carrying? But, you know, like if I go to the Chicago and I'm going downtown, absolutely I'm carrying multiple mags. You know, like
Right.
depending on where I'm going, I'm going to adjust my everyday stuff. But I think it's just the fact that people need to understand that um I need to be aware of what's around me. I need to be aware of who's around me. I need to make sure that I can hear everything around me. I need to make sure that I'm changing up my routes, or that I'm just keeping an eye on things and I'm carrying something for protection. Even if it's not a firearm, that's fine. But like, take the proper steps and don't just be like, it won't happen to me, or I shouldn't have to carry pepper spray because men shouldn't attack women. Well, I agree. But if that was the case,
Yes.
I wouldn't have a job teaching, because it happens all the time. You know, like, and does it
Yes.
happen like men attacking men? Absolutely. But I think it's more so the fact that people, and sorry, ladies, but a lot of ladies out there just need to accept the reality that stuff like this happens and stop trying to. I mean, I've been involved in so many different feminist groups, and I love what they preach and push for and fight for. But at the same time, it's like sometimes you just need to take a step back and be like, hey, we're still fighting for all this stuff, but we also have to acknowledge that us fighting for it in a political standpoint or a legal standpoint doesn't change what's actually happening. And you could have the exact same argument with gun control. When people tell me
Mhm.
all the time that like, oh, we should just ban guns, I'm like, that's fine, ban them, take them all away. Bad
Mhm.
people are still going to have them. or
Right.
bad people are
So
going to
until
find
they're
other
literally
ways.
all yeah,
I
I'm
said
gonna have
I'm not
mine.
doing it. I'm not carrying because
Yeah.
it's my right to carry. I don't care. I only started carrying a few years ago because I saw how out of hand that stuff was getting, and I didn't want to be caught off guard. So
Absolutely.
if that's not changing, then I'm going to adjust what I do to keep myself safe. And I think looking at this video is just a perfect example. Like you said, she's a pretty girl. She's in shape. She admitted to doing a couple things that she's like, I probably shouldn't have done that. I'm sure she's been told that before, but now she's had a real life moment. And unfortunately, that's all that happened. It
Right.
didn't take any sort of physical turn. It's unfortunate that she had to experience it at all, but at least now she can now go to people and say, "Hey, I used to be like you, or I used to never do this, but now I do because this happens." And so,
Mhm.
unfortunately, sometimes that has to happen for people to kind of be like, "Yeah, you're right."
Absolutely. 2 things to what you said, that was such a great breakdown. One, like, my own sister one time said, "I shouldn't have to know this." And I was like, "I completely agree. You should
100%.
not have to know this. It doesn't mean that you aren't gonna learn it today. Let's go." We did
Yeah.
some managing unknown contacts, we did some pepper spray, we did some work. I make my sisters do that when they're home for vacation. They love it so much. But another thing is, like, I love running, and, Lena and I recently trained for a half marathon, and I don't know if I told you this story, but we were on a run, and a guy in a ski mask on his bike turned his bike perpendicular. Did I tell you about this? Turned his bike perpendicular to us on the route. Lena has, like, great observational skills. She saw him. We slowed to a stop, and he had also I meant to mention this was in the summer, okay? Ski mask,
You may
sweatshirt.
have
Talk
mentioned
about
this.
being out of place. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was like, she started talking. She was like, "We're not coming towards you. Like, move on." And he was like, "Come on." And so we jumped over a fence and went around as far as we could because we did not want to have to use firearms. We did not want to have to go hand to hand. So we completely avoided it. We literally jumped a fence at an apartment complex and got away. And it's so sad because, like, I remember during half marathon, I was like, this is the time I need to carry the most. And it's the time I want to carry the least because anyone who's run long distances knows any weight you have on you is just
I don't run,
extra
so
weight. It
that's
makes it
I don't.
so much harder. And I run with a chest kind of harness for my firearm. So it kind of makes me have to think about my posture extra when your shoulders are already tired and your neck's already tired from maintaining good running posture, which I don't always do that. But it's the time where you like really don't want to carry a gun, but you're also the most exposed. And I hear horror running stories all the time just because we're so isolated out there. And if you're lucky enough to have a running friend, that's great. But like
The
I only have
first
one.
the first sorority I presented to back in like 2013, 2014. I remember I was hanging out with a couple of the ladies from the sorority before the session started. Like they were my contacts, so I like met with them. So they're just kind of waiting for all the girls to fill up the room, and one of them was kind of sharing a story with me. And it was like a couple months prior, she was running around campus later at night, not pitch black, maybe 7 o'clock or so,
Mm.
and a van came up and dragged her off the sidewalk, and she had to fight to get out of the van. And she's
Jesus.
like, I didn't know what to do, and she's been like she was like, I'm in therapy for this, and kind of just like processing how to do with it. She goes, but fortunately, I was able to not get fully dragged in. But she's like, I'm just running headphones on, and next thing I know, someone's dragging me from behind and like trying to pull me into a van. And can't and like,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother thing of like stuff, but it's like, yeah, it happens so often, so often. And it's the fact that like moms will come to me saying, I need to get my daughters into training before they go to college. I'm like, cool, come with them. Oh, no, 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 we're good. It's like, no, if your daughter's coming because you're worried about your daughter, then you come in as well. Like,
Absolutely.
there's
I love
absolutely no
that.
reason for just your daughter to be here, and you're like, I'm fine because I live in the suburbs. I'm
Right.
like, so do I, and I still know what happens in the
Yes.
suburbs. So,
Yes. That's
but
always wild. I get that from yeah, students of mine as well. And
I
they
get it
actually
constantly, constantly.
right? I love that you call them out. That's beautiful. Palm actually sells a running unit. I don't make commission by sharing this. If you do, I'll put your code and everything. But um,
Nope, Saber does as well.
oh, nice, gotcha.
A lot
Oh
of a
yeah,
lot of
I'm so
pepper spray
sorry.
juice. Yeah,
You work with Sabre. Yes, I forget about that. So there are pepper
no,
spray
you're
brands
good.
out there that
Both are good
make
companies.
specific units. Absolutely, that make units for runners, like they're gloves that are just on your hands. You don't have to think about it because clenching your hands for a half marathon distance is not fun. So definitely check that out. I also do a ton of running content we can get into later, but let's move on, I think. So, oh gosh, which one do I even choose
Yeah, I
next?
got time
This
for a
one's
couple
kind of
more.
Okay, perfect. Yes, I got you. I'm watching time there. Okay, I'm like, okay, now I have to like be a little picky and choosy. This one's very situational awarenessy. Oof, gosh. Okay, this topic is okay, I'm not gonna preface. I'm sure you've seen
Yep,
this.
just
This
send it.
has been a big video circulating. Actually, 3 of the videos I picked out have to do with this. Random just knife attacks, which this isn't a lot of fighting. We'll do one next that's a little bit more fighting centric, but I
Yeah,
think
I've
this
seen
is
this
worth
one.
talking
So
about.
yeah, and this is actually good for a couple things. And there is a moment that I want to point out specifically where she could have turned the tables. But again, that's like it's 100% quarterbacking off of
Of
like
course,
after watching it.
hindsight.
One,
Absolutely.
I'm guessing headphones or something, but even if it's outside, it's hard to hear sometimes when you got winter hats on. Um, but for all the people that are watching it or listening to this, you can never protect yourself from an attack from behind. Like there is no technique. You're always going to be on the response. And what you have to focus on, regardless of what the attack is that you just try to get your feet under you and fight back as fast as possible. And you just try and turn the tables as quickly as possible because you're already on the end. Like you've lost the initial encounter, which is the hardest part to deal with. The part I do want to talk about is when she runs up to her, she kind of pauses for a second and kind of like squares up to her a little bit. And you can see the girl starting to take her hands out of her jacket pocket before she gets stabbed. Now, again, we're quarterbacking this. We're
Of
not in the
course.
moment. This is like a second's notice. In a perfect world, if I'm walking and all of a sudden somebody kind of comes up, not just passes me. I mean, usually if somebody runs past me, kind of catches me off guard, I tend to kind of step off anyways. But if you kind of
Absolutely.
walk and you start to 45 yourself to me, I would hope that I would initially take a step back and put some space between. And I'm one that immediately looks at hands whenever I talk to somebody. I very
Yes.
rarely look at you in the eyes first. I'm usually kind of eyeing your whole body. Um,
Mhm.
and so I would have immediately looked at their hand. Again, this is like in my head
Right.
how I picture I would, hopefully that my training pays off. But they square up to you, catch you off guard, take a step back, kind of look at the whole picture, see that they have something in their hands, and I'm on it immediately because there's no reason that somebody should be talking to you, even if she's not aggressive verbally. Why is anyone talking to me that I don't know while holding a weapon in their hand? Especially in this case, a
Absolutely.
knife. So that's like my first initial reaction. And then obviously, if she was able to get hands on, whether she threw punch first or she goes hands on, then we have countless different options. But that's just like my first like she doesn't turn and just stab her right away. She kind of turns, squares up, looks at her, says something. So there is like a few seconds, and they're quick seconds, but there's a few seconds that maybe a trained person could have put some space or maybe attempted to get hands on before the full impact of that blade felt them. The other thing that when I initially posted about this video, I mentioned was having medical training, both as yourself, but also just for like bystander situations where if I'm walking
Mhm.
down the street and I see that happen and I see you drop and the person runs off, I can apply a tourniquet or some medical attention to at least keep you alive until the medics get there. I'm not going to go chase off the person or anything. I witnessed it, or maybe I didn't witness it. I just see somebody hurt. I can apply some training. If we're by ourselves out there, I hope that I have enough training that I could at least do something to kind of control the bleeding or at least control the injuries to some extent until I can get somewhere safe or get on the phone with 911 or hope that somebody finds me. So I think that's also important that people have medical training. I think that's just as important as carrying pepper spray. I think you should have it. Like I always have, that's one thing I always have on me is a tourniquet. I think that's like the modern day band-aid. And again, I think it's just understanding that most violent situations that we see nowadays are stabbings and shootings. And so, again, even if you don't carry a firearm, having a tourniquet accessible just for the off chance that you're at the wrong place at the wrong time and you might be able to apply
Mhm.
some aid to somebody, I think that's something that people should carry. So, yeah, those are my two, my biggest thing is I can't see what's coming behind me. But in this particular instance, if somebody squares up to me a little bit, I'm going to put some space and then have some medical training. I think those are big ones that we need to have.
Those are beautiful points, and if you're listening and you're like, "Oh, this doesn't really happen," I was on a walk with my dad one time. This homeless guy, I don't know if we were just, like, in a place that maybe he thought was his home or something and got upset with us. This is a public walk path. We weren't, like, even off the trail. It was paved and everything. He kinda murmured some things at us as we passed, and of my father and I am the one that would be the first to respond to something like this. And my dad actually stopped for a second to like turn around and be like, "What?" And I was like, "No, keep moving." Because whatever it was kind of guttural and angry. So I was like, "Nope, we don't need to talk to that guy. We're good." Okay. We kept walking, and this is when the guy decides to get on his bike. I keep having these like stories with bikes. It's something about that.
Stop riding
Anyway,
bikes.
Jesus, yeah. So we're like on the path, and my dad goes back to talking and la di da, just totally not aware of this guy getting on his bike. And I was like, "Hey, dad, we're gonna step off the path," because this guy got on his bike and he rode past us so freaking fast and got so close to us, even though this giant path was open with like dividers. We could have easily been like shanked quickly. We could have like been shoved. Something could have happened. And I remember like I kind of felt like I was being ridiculous in a way for stepping off. Like I know my dad was kind of like, "What are we doing?" Because I kind of grabbed him and was like, "We're stepping off now." But we stepped off and we just faced the path and I watched him pass. And I remember like telling my dad, "We're going right back to the car. We're leaving." I didn't like the looks of it. I didn't like the fact that he got on his bike right when we passed after he muttered something. And it's one of those situations where like I was able to be aware and like notice him. And had I been wearing headphones or something like that, which I do on runs, I'll wear at least one. Sometimes I cannot run without them. So like I tell myself
I
that at
can't work out
least.
without I
So
can't work out without music, so I
dude,
get you.
right? It's so freaking hard. I remember even at the tactical games, they played music for us, and I was like, thank God. But it's one of those things, if you don't think it can happen to you, it's just not the case. If you see someone running or moving quickly past you, say they are in need of help, right? You can always move off the path, face them, do something that puts you in a more advantageous situation and still render help if you absolutely need to. That doesn't mean that you're like assuming the worst in someone. It just means you're positioning yourself so they can't freaking shank you. Jesus, that's like one of
Yeah.
my biggest fears. Yeah, it's insane. This next one is a bit of a kind of grapply one. I hope you
Ooh,
haven't seen
okay.
it. It's hard to find ones kind of ish. This is specific to police, but at the same time, I feel like it could apply to civilian.
Yeah,
If
I've
you,
I've seen this one, but I haven't broken it down yet. But
dang. Ooh, okay. I'm excited.
I haven't watched it like in depth. I've seen it.
Okay. So for those that aren't on the YouTube channel, just a really like easy breakdown, much larger dude with a kind of just shorter framed.
Beautiful.
He looks kind of stocky and strong. Police officer trying to arrest and administer handcuffs, guys not complying. And then yeah, I'll let you break it down from there
What
because
I
I'd love to hear what you
like
think.
what I like, and if you ever train with Kerry with rectitude training, he brings
Hmm.
this up a lot. He encourages officers a lot to reach for the right hand because majority of people are right-handed. So even if like if you notice the officer was more towards the left side initially and then kind of works his way to the right side, it's very quick, but he works his way to the right side to grab the right hand first.
Ooh,
Which I don't know
yeah.
if he realized he did that or
And he
not, if that
pats
was
his
intentional or not, but Kerry is
yeah.
big on like grabbing. Yeah, he kind of does like a cross pat, but he's big on controlling the dominant hand, which again, you could have a left-handed person, but vast
Mhm.
majority are right-handed. What I like about this officer is his ability to incorporate striking into the grappling. Um, Obviously, there is a size disadvantage, though it clearly looks like this officer is not shy of muscles by any means.
Right.
But he's clearly a strong dude. Um, Throws just enough strikes to get the guy to go down. I like the head pressure. He does a little knee on like lower back, and then he switches to a mount. I don't know how he ends up getting to the cuffing position, but I probably, especially when I work with some officers, I personally will teach them to extract one arm first before kind of going into the back mount. I guess it kind of depends on how their hands are, but if I'm able to extract one arm and get it onto the back, then you could kind of ride your hips up high and have that arm pinned so that my arm is kind of like stuck up like this behind my back, and my hip will prevent them from being able to pull that arm out unless they're just crazy flexible, which again, most likely
Right.
not the case. Then I can kind of ride the wrist on the other side and extract that one or utilize a crossface if need be. But you're essentially kind of putting them in like a reverse Kimura to get them onto their to extract that arm. So he does a nice job. Like he clearly knows where to control the pressure. And I will say this time and time again, whether you're a cop, military, if you work in any form of career where you have to get hands on with people, there's no excuse not to have the proper training. And any cop that
Mm,
tells me I don't have time to train is a lie, because almost half of my students are cops. And I've been training with cops my entire life. They all have the time. It's just a matter of, do I train in the morning? Do I train in the afternoon? I've got guys
prioritize
that,
it.
yeah. And I mean, I've got cops, like I've got a guy coming in tonight that is getting off like a 14-hour shift and he's coming straight to class because he's like, I need to
Jesus.
get, he's like, if that's the only time I can train for this week, then that's it. Um,
Oh my gosh, I have no excuses. I have no excuse. I have no excuse. I'm so going tonight. I already clicked the thingy in the WhatsApp that says I'm going to 6 p.m. Nogi. So yeah,
that
actually,
does.
something
Nope, you're good.
I
You're good.
love about this is his elbow is so graceful and well timed. And then
Oh
he just
yeah.
kind of follows him down to the ground. Like I absolutely love that. I know that's like an obvious part of it, but um I also love that, or sorry, I recognized when I was watching this that he was so persistent about grabbing something from his pocket or his appendix section. Like he tries to grab something almost like 3 times in this.
Yeah.
So I love, yeah, I noticed that when I was first watching it. Go for it.
Yeah, I think this is like, I don't disagree with him turning the guy around. He could have done, especially because he's like trying to cuff him. And again, I'm not a cop. I just know from secondary that a lot of times cops that are trained will prefer to kind of get them to the ground or to a pinned position where they can access their hands, because even if I put my hands behind my back, if I start turning, like we're in a scramble. So at least like if the cop was able to maybe body lock and rip him to the ground, or at least pin him up against the car to reduce his ability to move, makes it a
Mhm.
little bit easier for him to arrest, or at least get to the cuffing position. And
Mhm.
then again, when we talk about size disparity, utilizing the ground as an extra leverage point, where the cop is able to kind of pin him and use that hard surface to keep him from being able to move or push up. And again, when you don't know how to grapple, and clearly this cop does,
Yes.
you know how to apply weight properly to where you can't just like push up off the ground, because I may be at an angle, I may have certain pressure, or at least I'm hitting all the points like your shoulders, your hips, your head, where you just physically can't move. So I agree. I've never like broken this one down. I have seen it. I love the way that the cop handled the situation. And again, like, could you sit here and quarterback certain things? Sure. But this cop alone, especially for his size, has handled the situation better than when I've seen two or three cops try and handle situations. So um,
Absolutely.
clearly, what he's doing training wise is working great for him in the job. And he was able to get this guy down. Yes, he hit him, because clearly the guy is starting to resist, but he hit him just enough. But at no point did he need to spike him, slam him, beat him, do anything to cause extra damage, because he knows exactly what he needed to do. And I have no doubt that if he needed to apply other damage or get back to his feet to draw whatever tools he needs, he was in the ability to do so. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I thought this was phenomenal through and through. I even like that he closes his door at the end to be polite. I thought that was a nice
Yeah.
touch.
Yeah, absolutely. And so he could take the back fully. It's freaking so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, I,
Um,
I love it.
because we're short on time, I'm gonna send you these next two, and they're
Okay,
kind of in the same vein. The big theme here, in my opinion, is space.
okay.
Like I want this to be a PSA for the need to create space, because one of the biggest things that I see in videos of CCTV footage of people getting attacked is they almost, you can tell they're like in their mind, they're like, that person's not going to strike, that person's not going to hit me, and they stay so close in. And I think a little bit of that is like fawning, like freezing.
Hmm.
Um, and I just, yeah, I want that to kind of be,
I think the other thing is people are too passive with some of their commands.
yes,
It's kind of like, hey, can you leave us alone? Can you please leave us
right.
alone? Leave me the fuck alone. Leave me alone. And yeah,
Yes.
you're being firm, but it's not like back
Mhm.
off. I'm not pitching that voice. I'm not using language accordingly. My body language doesn't always match it either. So at the same time as I'm
Mhm.
telling you to back off, I'll be making space of my own, or putting my hands up, or position myself in a manner. I think also people tend to be a little afraid to be rude. And then again, there's a difference between being rude and being an asshole. So being short with your answers is rude.
Yes.
Being incomplete, ignoring questions, not answering questions, that's rude. Calling someone a bitch
Right.
or anything along those lines is mean. So there is a difference. And anytime I tell people like it's okay to be rude, they're like, well, that's how you get beat up. I'm like, not necessarily. If I'm
Right.
being mean, yeah, I'm kind of giving them a reason to fire back. But if I'm just being like,
Mhm.
no, I'm not going to tell you my name. Leave me alone. I'm
Right.
being rude, but I'm not being mean. But again, like we've taken those classes, but I think people in their heads would be like, well, nobody would get that close to me. And it's impossible. I think what matters is how quickly do we acknowledge that somebody's getting close to us and how quickly do
Mhm.
we start, at whatever point I engage with you, like that's the distance we're starting at. So it's a matter of like
Mhm.
how close am I letting you get to me before I finally acknowledge it. And if I'm waiting until you get super close to me, even though I saw you way back here, then that's on me. But if I
Mhm.
call it out right then and there, I don't have a say really. If you decide to push forward, that's up to you, but I'm going to have
Right.
responses for that. But if I engage at this point, then I have a better chance of preventing things from happening or at least giving myself the best opportunity to protect myself. But if it's like, hey, this person's kind of creeping me out, well, don't say anything. Let's just see if they come any closer. And the next thing you know,
Mhm.
they're on top of you. And it's like, yeah, this dude went back off. It's like, well, you could have told them 20 feet ago to leave you alone, or you could have
Right.
removed yourself. So, like, to some extent, it is on you. You got to know where that is. But if I'm
Absolutely.
if I'm in line at the mall or at the movie theater or the grocery store and you're right behind me, I may not have the ability to control that space because it's natural. And if you're just behind me making inappropriate comments or getting physical or anything along those lines, well, I'm just
Mhm.
stuck there. But again, that also goes
Right.
back to knowing like you got to have those skills to be able to handle it. But it does emphasize the importance of space. Like space is your friend
Yes.
in everything. And I need like, oh, I'll pepper spray. Like, yes, but I want
Cool.
space. I'm gonna shoot them,
Yes.
yeah, but I want space. I'm gonna sit.
Right.
I need space. Like that's
Right.
the end goal of everything. That's why we have those tools. It's not to hunt you down, it's to make space. And if that allows me to keep that space, like they say, like a blade gets somebody off of you, keeps them off of you. Pepper spray keeps them off of you. A firearm keeps them off of you. But they can all be
Absolutely.
used to stop a threat if it gets too close as well. But I want to use it initially to keep you away. Like that's the goal.
Absolutely. I
Um,
call my El Nino the space creator, my ultimate space creator.
it's a
And
great
the
one.
2 videos I sent David, the first one is this guy coming up to this woman with a dog, and she's just like, I think he hit her dog originally. And he's swatting at her and being like, shh, like, just go away. For absolutely no reason. We don't know why this man is antagonizing her, but we know she's in a public space on a public bench. There's no reason for him to be interacting with her. And the second one, this girl is I think, she looks like she maybe is working at a kind of a grocery store, a gas station. She's kind of almost perpendicular to this guy, telling him to go away, kind of dismissing him, and then he just absolutely beats the shit out of her. And you can tell they're just, like, extremely close. Did I show the video where he goes
Mhm.
physical? I may have sent you the wrong one. Okay. Yeah. And yeah,
But that
she
but that
doesn't you
also
can
just
tell she's in
emphasizes
disbelief.
too. But that also just like emphasizes like people just don't expect it to happen. Like, oh, I didn't know, and
Absolutely.
it's like I should anticipate if you're coming that close to me and you're ignoring my commands or comfort level, then I should
Mhm.
anticipate that you're not there for good intentions. And maybe, sure, maybe it's
Yes.
not the intent to hit me right away. But
Sure.
either way, if I'm saying, "Hey, can you give me some space? Can you back off? I don't want you." No. And you're ignoring all those
And
commands.
you're still coming in.
I'm already going to go into defensive mode. That's a given. So I think again, this goes back to our earlier conversation that a lot of people just kind of live in a la la land where they just feel like it's never going to
Mhm,
happen. It's like again, just understand how fast it happens
mhm.
and how quickly people can close the distance. And even like and fucking Craig, he always picks on me for this one. But whenever they do like the 0 to 5 foot drill where they talk, I mean, I literally will stand there with like my hands like this, like,
Yeah.
"Yep, I'm good, Craig. How are you?" And he still punches me in the face every single time. Because
Yeah,
it's not like we're
absolutely.
sparring. Like if we're sparring, I already know stuff's being thrown, and now I'm watching your body. But when we're having that
Yes.
conversation, but I don't know when it's coming. I don't know where it's coming. I'm responding
Mhm,
to you talking.
mhm.
It's like, nope,
Yeah, it's
you just hit me.
oversaturating your brain. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
in even if it's a kind of makeshift not makeshift, what am I trying to say? Even if it's kind of like a pseudo conversation, it's still
yeah,
convoluting your ability to think
yeah.
and
And then
process.
if you add in the fact that you don't have a ton of training, because if you get hit in that close of a
Um,
range, you're like, I love fighting in the pocket. I love boxing in the pocket.
mhm,
I don't know
mhm.
why. Maybe because I'm shorter against a lot of the guys. So like to
Sure.
me, like, cool, you're in my world now. We're in the pocket, but you have like, if you don't have that mentality, now you just got hit, and now you're stunned and gazed and like, "Oh my god, this happened to me," and then you now have to deal with the person all over you on top of the fact that you're in flight mode. So it's just bad. You gotta control
Absolutely.
your space. Even if it doesn't turn, like I said, even if it's not violent, you gotta control your space to at least give yourself the position, because it's a lot easier for me to apologize and say, "Hey, I'm sorry. You're kinda just giving off some weird vibes at first. I apologize. You seem like a cool
Right.
person. I didn't mean anything by it." Rather than
Right.
getting beat up and being like, "I should have done something."
Yeah. Having a physical now diminishment to your body for the rest of your life. I think I told you about the gas station thing where a guy worked his way into my car door and I had to be like, dude,
Yep.
back up. And the fact that he didn't respect my ask or honor my ask, as Craig says it, my brain was immediately cued. Like, there's no good intentions here. Like, even if he had good intentions, why can't he talk to me from
No,
the other side of my car door? That's crazy.
they're gone.
So, anyway,
Yeah,
I know you
they're
have to
gone.
run, David. This was so fun. I want to do this more with you. I like
It
my
was the
goal
best.
is
We'll
to
do this
find
again. We'll do
videos.
this more often.
Yes.
Brian wants to do this with me too. He keeps bugging me, but he wants to
Yes.
do
Oh
like
my
live
gosh.
sessions where he and I do like a live. So yeah,
Please
we'll
do
chat
it.
and we'll figure something out. So
Yes, we will. I will have all of David's information per usual linked in the show notes, so notes below the pod. David does breakdowns like this all the time with actual instruction on the mats, showing you a real life kind of solution to a lot of these real life situations. That makes sense. Problems, solutions
yeah,
to these problems. So if you guys haven't checked out his channel, please go do that. It's been amazing to watch you do that throughout the years. And
I
yeah, I'll
appreciate it.
try to find some you have not seen yet and we'll do it again. I'm excited.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on, David.
Of course, of
Okay.
course.